It's time for media meltdowns, and according to the leftist media, no Democrat has ever suggested that Donald Trump is a Nazi or that Donald Trump is Hitler. Here is JB Pritzker and MSNBC's Nicole Wallace trying to rewrite history.
I haven't suggested that Donald Trump is Hitler. I wouldn't say.
I don't think any Democrat has. I actually,
no.
And I think it's a smear that they project back on to critics.
Okay, it's a smear from Republicans apparently, but they sound so sure about it. Are they telling the truth? What has JB Pritzker said in the past?
What I know is in the early days of the Nazi regime, they started slowly but surely taking away people's rights. And what we're seeing now is the very same thing.
And was he the only one who said anything like that? What about this Democrat?
He is paving the way to become a Vladimir Putin or to become an Adolf Hitler or a Kim Jong-un. That's what he wants to be.
What about Jasmine Crockett?
Me disagreeing with you, me calling you, I want to be Hitler, all those things are like not necessarily saying go out and hurt somebody.
Yeah, she has called him that several times. And what about over on MSNBC? What has been said on that channel multiple times in the lead up to the election?
Where one side stands for freedom while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism, namely a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany or Franco's Spain or Mussolini's Italy, but also white-ruled South Africa.
Joining us now is RNC Youth Advisory Council co-chair CJ Pearson. CJ, sorry to put you through that, but listening to Joy Reid there, you can understand why MSNBC got rid of her. But Nicole Wallace and JB Pritzker, I mean, who are they convincing?
Absolutely no one with a single bit of common sense. But I will tell you, every time I hear this media meltdown, I'm going to start sending you my therapy bill because it's gotten to that point. These people are delusional, and maybe we need to do group therapy so they can get the help that they deserve and that they need. But no, here's the deal. For the last several years, we've listened to these people call President Trump Hitler. We've listened to them call him a Nazi, and also not just him, but his supporters as well. And I got to tell you, these aren't just petty partisan political insults to me. These are clear incitements of violence. These people know what they're doing. They know what their rhetoric is causing, and we should condemn them for it. We should be clear-eyed about it. And that's why I think that, here's the deal. These people, even after the death of Charlie Kirk, have shown that they are not willing to change the way in which they speak about these issues. They want to say Republicans lower the temperature. When will they?
Yeah, 100%. And they just keep gaslighting, and it's so dangerous. We can laugh at it, but as you say, it's a call for violence. And it's been awful to see what's happened this year, the rise of extreme left-wing violence. Now, Senate Democrats voted for the 13th time to block a House-passed bill to reopen the federal government, despite a plea this week by the nation's largest federal workers' union to end the 28-day shutdown. It's interesting, CJ, CNN is reporting that Republicans have actually improved their polling numbers during the shutdown, while Democrats are in the worst position they've been in 20 years.
Starting with Republicans, how has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
CJ, what do you make of that?
Well, I make of it that the American people are a lot smarter than the Democrats would like to believe that they are. The American people know this is a Chuck Schumer shutdown. It is because of a few rogue Democrat members in the United States Senate who are refusing to reopen the government, refusing to do what needs to be done to pay our troops, to ensure that SNAP benefits don't, become in jeopardy and all of those things. And this problem lays squarely at their feet. President Trump has done what he had to do. Republicans in Congress have done what they have to do to reopen this government. Democrats have to meet us in the middle. They've shown a refusal to do so because Chuck Schumer and folks like him are just far too scared of AOC to actually be a leader. And it's a shame, and it's terrible that they're jeopardizing our country and its well-being in pursuit of their partisan and political goals.
Yeah. Let's talk about Barack Obama. Former President Barack Obama is heading back to the campaign trail in the final days of elections for governor in Virginia and New Jersey. Now, in Virginia, former CIA employee Abigail Spanberger is facing off against Republican Winsome Earl Sears, a Jamaican immigrant and Marine veteran. Now, Obama officially endorsed Abigail Spanberger earlier this month, and he's essentially calling on voters to snub Winsome Earl Sears. But he's being called out for this because you'd remember last year when Barack Obama lectured black men about why they need to vote for Kamala Harris. Let's just look at what he said.
When you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences.
So CJ, last year it was all about race, but it's not really important to him this time around.
Well, it's because Barack Obama doesn't actually want you to vote for a black person who can think for themselves and who he doesn't control. He only believes that blackness is synonymous with, liberal policies and progressive ideals. But I got to tell you, it's not. He wants to sit here and say that we should vote for a black person just for the sake of being black. I completely disagree with that. I think if I'm going to vote for a black person, it's going to be because I believe that they're otherwise qualified. And Winsome Sears is otherwise qualified. This is someone who was a veteran, a Marine, a lieutenant governor, someone who has led from the front and never from behind. And so, yes, if I were a voter in the state of Virginia, she would absolutely have my support. But it speaks to the hypocrisy of the liberal left. These people, again, do not actually care about black lives or black votes or any of those things. They care about their agenda. They want black people they can control. They want black people that they can direct. They want black people that they can dictate their political ideals to. Winsome Sears has said for a long, long time that she will not be controlled by these people, and that is why they fear her. And that's exactly why Abigail Spanberger, a former CIA agent, is forced to pull out all the stops to win what otherwise should be a pretty easy race for her.
Look, it's also been revealed that Barack Obama was not happy with Nancy Pelosi's quick endorsement of Kamala Harris. This is according to ABC News journalist Jonathan Karl's new book, Retribution. Obama's message to Pelosi was essentially, what the F did you just do, when Pelosi expressed full confidence in Kamala Harris because Obama reportedly had serious concerns about Kamala Harris's competence and her ability to really beat Trump in the election. So I suppose he was right to have concerns, CJ.
Well, you're right. And also cast that video where he's lecturing that group of black men into a new light. Maybe he was compensating for his own doubt in Kamala Harris's ability to defeat President Trump, as she, so clearly failed at having the ability to do. And so, every accusation is a confession from these types of folks. And I think that is what we're seeing from this new reporting and what we saw in that video just now.
Now, actor Charlie Sheen has a new idea for Democrat-run cities on how they can get tough on crime, telling Bill Maher that there should be a dedicated place for repeat offenders. Watch this.
Oh, like in New York, they had some crazy stat of, because, they throw people in jail and then they're out the next day.
I know.
Like some crazy percentage of crimes, some side of crime was like from 600 people. Who just over and over did like 80% of the
that is
whatever.
Just
I know.
Wow.
I know.
So if you're able to build statistics from that, you clearly know who the they are, right?
I mean,
So why not just take just those 600 people
and this
just build a special place for them?
And this is why it's so
Call it the 600 building.
Right.
You know?
That's good.
I mean,
that's very good.
There's our
the 600 building.
Yeah, there it is.
And CJ, Bill Maher's all for it.
Yeah, because I think most Americans are for actually, putting criminals where they belong, enforcing the rules that are on the books. These things are not radical, right-leaning ideas. They used to be common sense just a few years ago. And so Charlie Sheen, whoever would have thought that he would be the voice of reason on any issue, but credit where credit's due.
RNC Youth Advisory Council co-chair CJ Pearson, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.